Slamdown is sponsored by Zombie Generation and Impact Fan Nation. Welcome to another live episode with me, your host, Ashley, Friend, and Charles. We're going to be talking everything about Impact. As everybody knows, last week Charles was very unwell. So, he abandoned me. He left me on my own. He left me doing this show all on my own because he was unwell. But he's back today and he's going to give us his overview of what he thought of last week.
Yep. Hey, everybody. I'm sorry I missed the show last week, but I tried. I called. I was in coughing fits and things like that. I said, well, let me call back. And he's like, you're pretty bad off. Let's just take care of things. And I was very appreciative of it because, it's just under the weather. It happens sometimes. I'm pretty sure Ashley gave the same review I would have given last week. I think the show last week was pretty mediocre. It's one of the shows that it needed improvement. We got a lot of LAX and our Versailles Patron exposure again. I think we're getting oversaturated with that. The matches, there was really not one that stood out to me. I just think that they could have eased up on so much of the whole LAX El Patron thing. I think that kind of took me out of it. I got to a point where I was kind of like on my phone, me and my lady both, and she has no reason to be biased towards any organization because, she likes wrestling, but, she doesn't know about the history and anything of Impact Wrestling and when it comes to management and anything, so she has no reason to, be biased against it. And she was feeling the same way, and she's been liking each week. She's been enjoying the shows, but last week was kind of boring, just keeping it 100%. So, luckily this week was a lot better, in my opinion. It stepped the game up. I'm not gonna get deep into last week because we got a whole nother show to do. So in short, I will give the show a C because that was what it's about. It's about a C show, average show.
Yeah, I totally agree. It was a bit of an average show. I do feel this week was a massive improvement on many levels. Like I said, the X division was on fire. Like we were just saying earlier, there's probably only one point out of this whole show this week that I could poke at. Everything else felt a lot better. It felt a lot better quality matches, and there was a lot more storylines in these matches. Most of the matches had a purpose. The only thing we haven't seen much of the women's division. But I think there's a reason for that. I think Jeff Jarrett has realised they need to do better knockouts, and that's why we haven't seen any on TV, because they're probably working on new deals for knockouts. Because if we're honest, and we have said this in the past, that the matches we've seen with the women's division haven't been that great.
Right, correct. They haven't been. And I agree with you. I totally agree. I think if anything, that's exactly what's going on. Just there's like, let's stop putting these bad matches on air go sign some knockouts.
Yeah.
And then when we got them, let's get them out there because we are seeing Sienna. We're seeing the top dogs of the knockouts. We're seeing Laura Vanessa. We're seeing Sienna. We're seeing Gail Kim. We're seeing Rosemary. And that's about it. We're seeing the top dogs of the knockout division because you can't completely take them off the air. You can't do it. So if you know that you're kind of weak, give us the top dogs until you sign some more. Because in the news, haven't we seen that there have been new knockouts supposed to have been signed?
Yeah, but they haven't said names, but there is two apparently that's been signed to GFW. So that's all we really know at the minute. Karen Jarrett was asked on a teleconference call about new signings, but she refused to release any information out yet.
Of course, this is for suspense. We already know somebody's been signed. We don't know who. So, of course, that's to keep it suspenseful. But I do think there are, I don't know who still, but I do think there is one in particular knockout that's already been signed. That got signed after One Night Only Victory Road, and that they can put on TV now. And I think that's MJ Jenkins. I think they can use her now because she's pretty good in the ring. She's a little raw because she's fairly new, of course. And I think they can use Amber Nova more.
Yeah.
So I think those two could be on TV, definitely. And give us some matches that we can enjoy.
Yeah.
So those two I would like to see on TV until they sign some more knockouts. Yes, I would. But I get what they're doing, and I don't want to see Ava Story and Rebel in matches and looking bad. Ava Story has gotten a little bit better. I give her that.
Yeah.
And so has Rebel. I give her that too. But they still are bad. So I don't want to see them on TV right now. Let them improve. Yeah. Put MJ Jenkins out there instead. Put Amber Nova out there instead. And keep Gail Kim's returning. So give us some more Gail Kim.
Yeah.
Keep Angelina Love. Well, she might be gone now that Davey Richards is gone. So
I don't think Angelina Love would leave because of what Davey's doing, because end of the day, she still wants to wrestle. She hasn't retired. So, it still can work with her wrestling and him doing his medical studies. I think they'd be silly to let Angelina Love go because she's the experienced one now. And she is really talented as a wrestler, She was definitely better than, I can't remember her former tag team's name. Sky. That's it. She's definitely better than Velvet Sky. So, I think she needs to stay in that division. I'm looking at the knockouts at the minute, and for me, the two weakest are Alicia Edwards and Ava Story. We haven't really seen Diamante in the X division, in the women's division at the minute because we know she's been recovering from injury. But MK Jenkins is a weird one. We haven't seen anything from her. We haven't seen her on Explosion. It's just like she's disappeared. But she's still on the active roster page. It's not like with Brandy where they took her off the roster page and that was it. She's gone. And I'm going to bring this up because it's one thing that really, 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 really bugs the crap out of me.
I know what you're going to say.
I've been seeing it on the internet today, and I've seen it for the last couple of days. Even though there's been YouTubers that has commented about this 10% in contracts and explained it. BQ has said it brilliantly because he has a real source, not a fake source like some of these others claims. And when David Meltzer said this story about the contracts, he didn't tell us everything. He didn't tell us the truth. He didn't say what they use the 10% for. He didn't say they get given a load of money for T-shirt steals instead of paying royalties. He didn't cover all that because one thing Impact does that WWE doesn't do. GFW pays for their travel, pays for the hotel rooms. In WWE, you pay for your own travel because back in the past, a lot of NXT superstars were complaining, saying they weren't paid enough because they were struggling because they had to pay for their own travel and everything else. So, and also, if wrestlers weren't happy with these contracts, they wouldn't sign them. Rosemary said it on Reddit. She signed the contract. She's happy with the contract.
Exactly. Why would you go work for someone if they're not going to pay you right? If you're not happy with what they're offering you, exactly. So that's something I think is pretty obvious, and it's common knowledge. If you don't like it, you won't sign it.
Precisely. It just makes me laugh that some of the stuff that people come out with to try and bash, it's the Wrestling Observer is what, probably the worst one for doing it, with clickbait and then fake news about GFW. This is the whole reason I started Slamdown. I did it as a wrestling news and live streams, slow, and now vlogs to cover the truth and tell fans the truth of what the real story is. These other sites have been doing this for years now. How many times was Impact Wrestling meant to have closed its doors and be shutting down? I've lost count. I've lost count.
Way too many times, supposedly.
When the true story was they were having financial problems, but they had people helping them out. Not that they were closing down. So this is the thing. They twist stories to make it sound worse than what it is, to get people to read it, to get to bash people. It's the way it's always been, but it's an annoyance to me. But and also like I said, they've had all these stars that sign these contracts. If you look at their roster, they're obviously happy with Impact taking the 10%. But like I said, the 10% is used on their travel and everything else.
Exactly. There's a purpose for it. So, just like when Meltzer came out with the report, of course he didn't put that part in there because that was the purpose was the bad. And then when the real information came out from our buddy PQ of the King of the Mountain podcast, we saw what the real deal was. So
precisely. And if people still don't believe it, we will ask Congo Kong when he's on. We will ask him about these contracts, and you will hear it from someone employed by Impact.
Exactly. Then there will be no questions or anything about it.
Yep. Nothing. Precisely. Because it is getting ridiculous. And, even though people have covered it on YouTube and other podcasts have covered about this 10%, people are still going on about it. People are still bashing it. It's getting ridiculous.
Ashley going in and out. I can't hear you anymore.
Is that any better now?
Yep.
Yeah, your mic went a bit funny then. Now it's sorted itself out.
Okay, good.
But yeah, it's just ridiculous with the amount of times, people try and put a company down. It's like I've always said this. Wrestling, people should be supporting everybody, helping everybody. It's a wrestling business. When everybody works together, it's better for the business. There is more options than one company.
Right, exactly. And whether people want to complain about the contracts or not, people are still appealing to them and still signing with GFW.
Yeah.
Big names, big indie names, and names of people. There are people that are interested, such as Jack Swagger. That apparently they're fine with them because people that are somebody are coming.
Yeah.
So
if people, like I said, if wrestlers were really unhappy about this, they wouldn't sign with GFW. You wouldn't have the talent they've got if people were really unhappy with this. But I think it's about time we move and actually talk about the show because we can, knowing me, I can rant about this all day long.
Right.
At the start of the Impact show, we saw LAX Hideout, where Conan promises the newest member of LAX will be revealed tonight when the El Patron family takes on LAX in the main event. Now, one thing that I really liked about this was the mind play. The way they were messing with Alberto's head, making him believe it was one of his family could be turning against him to join LAX, really getting into his mind. One thing is, Conan is a brilliant talker. He really is. And he's always been known as a good talker. And the way they did this whole angle is perfect. I do feel in parts sometimes it's a bit oversaturated. It takes over too much of the Impact show. At certain times, but I'm liking the story it's telling, and I'm intrigued by this. After El Patron, where's it going to go next? Who's going to be their next target?
Right.
Or are they going to have a target, or they're going to try and get more gold? With LAX, there's so many places it could go. and that's what makes it exciting.
It is exciting to a degree. We talked about this off the air. Um, it is a bit of oversaturation because we get a lot of it in each segment, each impact we have been getting. And the way that it's gone now, being that LAX is about Latino empowerment and Latino pride, I see no reason why they're still going after Alberto El Patron and his family, because that's totally opposite of what you're preaching. Because, okay, he didn't join. Fine. You're going to beat him up. That's whack. I get it. Wrestling angle. You don't join us, we beat you good. But you're stressing Latino pride and the good old boys, you know, that are against you, and the words he used, crackers that are against you, whatnot. But it is your own brothers that you're fighting against completely, week after week, and feuding with. So at this point, I see no point in battling Patron any further. But we'll get more into that. But I do like you said, Conan is an incredible character. He's been great in the mic forever. He knows how to grab your attention. I do love when he's on the mic. I have absolutely no problem with it, because he's just one of those. He grabs you. He brings you there. And I do like LAX, without a doubt. There's something that Impact is needed. They're a really good faction. From Diamante to Homicide. I've seen Homicide in the ring, the last couple of weeks, so that's cool. I was thinking that maybe you're just going to be, your like Conan, a valet or a manager or something. So it's good to see Homicide in the ring, even if it's just for a short period of time.
Yeah.
It's good to know he's going to compete sometimes. And you got a really good tag team in Ortiz and Santana. So I do like what they got going on. I just think kind of where the angle is going now. It's kind of going against what's coming out the mouths of Conan and LAX.
Yeah.
Because their actions are showing something different.
Oh, yeah. One thing I think they will do is when Diamante is fit enough and ready to compete properly again, I can see them pushing her in the women's division to try and get that women's title to add more gold to LAX. Now, the thing that worries me is if they have LAX go for all the gold and gets all the gold, I don't want them to be like an NWO. I don't want it to be LAX runs everything. It's LAX versus GFW, because that was the whole point of the NWO, where we had the NWO versus WCW. This stable needs to stay contained. It doesn't need to add loads of members to it. I think they could probably get away with adding two. With having a big heavyweight guy in there to go, to hold the world title. And then someone for the X division. Don't think they should go any further than that, because otherwise, like I said, you can oversaturate. You can make it a team too big, and then certain people don't get shown right because there is too many people in the stable. But they do need an enemy, and when I say this, they need a big enemy to go against them. Now, people might disagree, or people might agree with this. For me, I would love to see. I'm not going to say Decay, but a type of Decay. I'd like to see James Mitchell come out leading a team, and his team being Abyss, Rosemary, and I'm going to say it, the new team that's joining Impact, OVE. Go for that way. Have that team put together. And you can even put Bram in there, because Bram at the minute on his attire has got the upside down cross, which is devil and everything else. So all them.
History with Rosemary.
Yeah, and then that would fit together, because you could have Bram saying, "I'm not doing this for Rosemary, I'm doing it for James Mitchell," and have him ties with James Mitchell. Because in that way, you've got your tag team in there, you've got your woman that can go for the women's title, and then you could use Bram to go for the main title, and then you could have the Abyss being there as the monster that helps out, and then you could have those two, LAX and the Decay, James Mitchell kind of team, going against LAX.
Mm-hmm.
So then you've got the good guys, the bad guys, and it could lead to something really big there if they went through that route.
I think that's a really good idea, without a doubt, because that's something that Brad can definitely get in. I wouldn't mind if Jimmy Ray, if they want to got him or
Yeah.
threw him in the mix. Um, yeah, definitely can see OVE because from the previews we see, that definitely is a group that they would fit in
Yeah.
from what we've seen. Um, James Mitchell needs to be on TV. I think we both know that. I like that idea. I mean, I don't see anything I would change about it. I think that's perfect. Like, and I also would incorporate the whole James. Only thing I would do, I would incorporate the Rosemary Brown thing to make something out of that, since you already made it happen and you had no explanation afterwards. So this was, kind of helping that.
Yeah.
Like I said, maybe throwing in Jimmy Ray.
Yeah.
Maybe, I can see that. Because that would also show up another storyline that just got nixed too.
Yeah.
So,
I just think, for a team like LAX, for them to lose the tag team titles, you can't have them lose the tag team titles against another team, because you're always going to have that interference from those other members of LAX. So they will, legitimately, they cannot drop the titles just to another team without that other team having backup and support around it.
Right. It's something to what's the word? To neutralize the other members, to say, neutralize the interferences and things like that. I think that's really smart. Because right now, really what tag team, like you said, just two people has enough to be able to work around Conan Homicide and Diamante. Now, excuse me, never mind, I almost gave it up. We haven't gotten that far into the show. But yeah, you got to neutralize that. So yes, you're right. They can't lose just to a tag team. So that's very good forward thinking. Because Rosemary, was it last week, wasn't it, when she lost?
Yeah, it was.
When she was saying that, pretty much saying that she's got some backup coming. So maybe it is OVE. Maybe it is James Mitchell. Maybe it is some people that they can bring together, because she's got to fight against KM and all them stuff and Sienna's faction. So maybe they could be the ones to take out LAX or feud with them for a while, because maybe, I don't know if Fenn and Ortiz are going to lose those titles for a while. At least not until the new titles are revealed, the brand new titles. So at least to give them a good feud, because just being honest, what tag team can you see taking GFW tag team titles and going forward right now as the top tag team in GFW? I don't see one. The Glad when Reno Scum comes back, get well. Adam Thornstowe, you screwed it up for your team. They was going to push y'all, even though they was kind of pushing y'all down our throats. But I did like the team.
Oh yeah. But the problem is, if they put Reno Scum against LAX, it's the same problem again. You're going to have that other numbers of LAX that will make sure LAX will win the titles.
Right. So I'm hoping that it does kind of go the way you say, that when OVE comes out, it's with James Storm.
Yeah.
And then here comes a Rosemary, and then possibly somebody else, a Jimmy Rave or something like that. But if it's just OVE, Rosemary, and James Mitchell, I could go with that. Or like you said, bring Brown with him. But I think that'd be lovely. But if it just starts off OVE and Rosemary, I'd be fine with that, because I know, and of course James Mitchell, I'd be fine with that, because there's no way in the world Abyss is not going to fall into that.
Yeah.
Abyss is going to, he's getting in that. There's no way you're going to have James Mitchell and Rosemary in a faction together, a dark faction, and not have Abyss at this point in GFW.
See, this is why, we've noticed Rosemary has been on a losing streak at the minute. This is why I think, this is if they're going to do it, this is the perfect way to do it, because with having Rosemary on the losing streak, James Mitchell could approach her and say, "Let me help," and use that together.
My problem.
But like I said, using James Mitchell with it would be perfect.
Can't hear you, Mike.
Well, while he's sorting his mic out, but yeah, looking at it logically, I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I hear you now.
Logically, like we said, LAX can't be beaten with just two teams. So, they've got to find something to do with that. They've got to find a way around that. And I believe using Rosemary, James Mitchell, a bit, we know Abyss is coming because we've seen the Abyss account with that picture about the new mask. So we know Abyss is coming. It's already been shown. So, it's Abyss won't be running on his own. You need someone running with him now. So I think that is the way it's going to go. But I do believe the Rosemary will keep losing. James Mitchell will make an offer to her, and then it will go from there. That's the way I'm seeing it going.
And I think it's going to be a face faction too, a dark face faction.
Yeah, I do. Because you can't have heel team against heel team. So it's got to be face team against face. Now, this match, I'm going to love talking about this. Desmond Xavier versus Drago. Super X-Cut semi-final. Damn, they could have had this match as the final match. Damn.
Yep. They're good at. I agree. Really damn good match.
I put on Twitter that just how amazing this match is because I couldn't take my eyes off it. You blinked, you missed something. It was very fast paced. It was very to and fro, back and forth. That the crowd was loving it, and also this show I noticed the crowd was a lot louder.
They were.
The crowd was more into this show than last week's.
They really were. Last week they were so dead. Me and my lady talked about how last week's show was the crowd was dead. And I said how I was telling how I hate the crowd because they're dead as shit. But this week was much better. They were loud. They were more interactive. They were definitely in that match. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Lots of spots, not like grand spots, but lots of ooh ah moments. I definitely had a lot of ooh ah moments in that match. Drago, he got the most offense in his match. They both got a fair amount of it because they're both extremely athletic and they both got a lot of skills, especially when it comes to the extreme thing. It was pretty even throughout the match until the end. Drago was pretty much going move after move on him, and Desmond Xavier was kicking out at everything. I thought he was going to lose after a few of those moves, especially after the Drago's finisher move, that running, flipping DDT type move he has, and Desmond Xavier kicked out of that. So I was like, damn.
Yeah. Certain times I was like, whoa. But it seems like with Desmond Xavier, they're building him up.
Yep.
I do believe in time he deserves an X Division title match. He's that good. For me, the top two in the X Division at the minute is Desmond Xavier, and I'm just trying to think of the other name now. Sardell. For me, Sardell. They are my top two in the X Division at the moment. I do like Loki. I do like Sanjay Dutt. But you can tell they're not as quick as they used to be due to age. So, but I like Drago in this match as well. I'm hoping Drago is at every tapings. I really am hoping he's at every tapings because he's really adding something to this X Division as well.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. He's definitely brought it. He's definitely brought what you're looking for in Lucha Libre style.
Yeah. It's
perfect for the X Division. And he's presented that in so many great ways. And I also like in those 6-man matches where they've had luchadors, that they were Lucha Libre style matches. That was cool. But the relationship with AAA is perfect for the X Division because of the style of wrestling.
Yeah.
And putting Drago was the perfect person to be bringing over to our taping to expose that. It was a really, really good match. Like you said, you have a good match with anybody, but if you got somebody that can match them, and I think maybe Desmond Xavier is more athletic than Drago.
Yeah.
Then you're always up for a really, really good showdown, a really good competitive match. And that's what we got. We got that without a doubt, and it was so good to see it. It was good to see Desmond Xavier pick up the win because he is the new sensation in Impact Wrestling. He's amazing to watch every time. every single time, win or lose.
He is.
So
He's still got so much potential as well. This is what's scary about Desmond Xavier. He's still young. He's hungry, and he has worked with people like Ricochet before in the past. So he's worked with those top athletes, and he's got a really bright future ahead of him. A really bright future.
Yep. He's worked with ACH in the past too.
Yeah.
I think he's also worked with Andrew Everett. I gotta look it up and see though. But yeah, he's definitely, and he's still doing good work in the Indies. He and Zachary Wentz just lost the CZW Tag Team Championship.
Yeah.
Just recently, but that could be a move to maybe he's going exclusive Impact. But most people that wrestle in GFW wrestle in the Indies, so maybe not.
Yeah, because they did put Desmond Xavier over in this match, which I'm actually quite happy. I love Drago, but I actually like it that Xavier got over in this match.
I agree.
Like I said, he signed to Impact, where Drago, he signed to AAA and because of talent relations deal. But I want, the final, whoever goes against Desmond Xavier, we know it's going to be phenomenal. It is going to be amazing. We've noticed the difference of X Division now compared to the past, and now, guys are different. Wrestlers have got more of an arsenal. They're have got a mix of a high flyer and technical. The wrestler now has changed. It's if you go back in time, you'd have a few flips, and there'd be a lot of super kicks. And a lot of sort of super kicks, drop kicks, sort of the basics. But now it's more technical, a lot more technical when it comes to these matches.
Mic troubles again.
Yeah, I've just noticed now we're getting a lot of static and that coming through your mic at the minute. But while you sort that out quickly, the X Division we were getting fed up in the past with the X Division where it is too much of same person going same person going against same person, and now we're seeing variety, we're seeing people with different ability, and it's made it exciting again, and the potential there is in that X Division is just amazing.
Oh yeah, from the simplest, the most surface thing being the roster. That is the most surface thing you can see about the exhibition has changed. Just to see just the simple roster change, the level of competition, the exposure, you get main events. All the surface things shows you how good and great the exhibition has gotten in such a short time.
Yeah.
And it's going to continue, and they're looking to even make it better. So I think the exhibition is really good right now, and it's amazing how much better it's gotten in such a short time. So with more and more going on, so many people we haven't seen from AAA, so many people we haven't seen from Lucha Underground, because it looks like they're working towards a deal with Lucha Underground too, not just AAA, to use Lucha Underground wrestlers in their likeness as well.
Yeah.
So more and more potential, and of course more pro wrestling Noah stars and things like that, like Marufuji and Ishimori, that can wrestle in the X Division because they look good. They're good stars. Ishimori versus ACH is going to be a good match.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, it's going to be a good match. I want ACH to come out as the victor and be ACH Desmond Xavier in the X Cup Finals.
Oh,
I wouldn't be mad with either. But yeah, Ishimori it's going to be versus ACH is going to be good. So we're going to get more and more people in the X Division in that style because of relationships that we have, and not to mention the indie companies that haven't been put out there on a large scale as we've been, as they like to advertise and market the relationships with Nova, AAA, and Lucha Grand, potentially Lucha Underground. They don't speak of Preston City Wrestling relationship. They don't speak of the AAW relationship. They don't speak of the so many American indie relationships. And they don't speak of even the WOS relationship. Even though they're not, airing right now and doing things, there's still another relationship.
Yeah.
And those talents and things that we can use, such as Kenny Williams. Would he not be good in the X Division?
Yeah.
You got wrestlers like that in the UK scene that would come in the X Division and really show the stuff. So we still don't got, and we still haven't seen much at all of what the X Division can be.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Just scratching the surface.
Yeah, definitely. We did see EC3 backstage saying that in the Grand Championship match against Moose, he was going to win the match in 2 rounds, and there was no need for the judges. I like heel EC3. I prefer heel EC3 over face. When he's heel, he uses more of a slapstick. I like the aggression. One of my favourite matches was EC3 versus Rockstar Spud, because of the characters. And I'm really liking EC3. And one thing I'll say before I move on to the next bit, Impact needs Holy Spud. They need to make 2002 the best year by signing Holy Spud. But we also found out Lashley is taking on Matt Sydal in a shot versus shot match on Destination X. So basically, Lashley wins, he gets a title shot. Matt Sydal wins, he gets a title shot. See, I don't really like that. I like Destination X where it was the X Division guy gets the title shot. I'd rather see Matt Sydal taking on El Patron to go for title, or even a member of the LAX has a shot against El Patron at Destination X. It would have made it a bit more special that way. We was backstage again with the Al Patron family, and Alberto questions whether or not he can trust them tonight. So, like we were saying earlier, it's making Al Patron question his own family. But we saw Karen and Bruce coming in, trying to calm the situation down. But we also saw that... we also saw that with Bruce wanted to have a quiet word with Karen as well, which I'll talk about that a little bit later in the show, because we know there's something else going on there. Our next match. Now, when the match started with Trevor Lee versus Mumbai Cat, I thought, okay, squash match. That's what I thought. How wrong I was, and how brilliantly this was done. We saw Trevor Lee taunting the crowd. The Mumbai Cat was outside the ring. Switched place, and we thought it was Mumbai Cat 2. And then he gets in the ring, hits on Trevor Lee, and then hits with a splash from the top rope to win. And as the referee lifts his arm up, we see it's Sanjay Dutt.
Sanjay.
Brilliant. Done brilliantly.
That was pretty clever. I got to give it to him. Just like you, I thought it was the other Mumbai Cat. I thought they still going to result in a loss. And, I thought it was going to still be, he got a new fresh body in. But, of course, it's still going to be a job action. I should have known it was Sanjay when he did the splash. But, I liked it. I'm like you. It was done really, really well. It was done very. Then, Sanjay couldn't get to the ring because Bruce had been banning him and things of the sort. So he figured out a way to do it. And he got in and he showed that, I'm the X Division champion for a reason. You see, I just beat Trevor Lee. He didn't know it was me. It was brilliant. I agree. I'm not mad about that at all.
No, it's quite. And also, we saw Bruce Pritchard's security coming down to get Sanjay Dutt out. But Sanjay said, all I want Trevor Lee in a ladder match for the X Division title at Destination X, and then he left. He walked out with no fusses, and which we know he was granted that match. So at Destination X, we will see Trevor Lee versus Sanjay Dutt for the title. Then we had a little bit of, they showed a clip of Lashley training partners, American Top Team, whether or not he should focus on MMA or pro wrestling. Which to me, is kind of weird. Why would you have people talk about him going MMA or pro wrestling? You know, I hope that's not saying Lashley's leaving GFW. I hope that's not their way of saying he's got to make a choice. Because I'm sorry, he can do both. Impact's, you know, we know Impact's taped. So
that's what King Mo. That's what King Mo said. King Mo said he could do both.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
I like what that segment. I think that segment was really, really cool the way it was done because you got his trainers, you got people outside of wrestling.
Yeah.
And it made it so much realism. It seemed so authentic because it was in his gym, with real people, with real Bellator and MMA fighters, and his real trainers in MMA. And they were speaking about his wrestling career, how he's been in both, but they feel like he will maximize, not all of them. King Mo didn't feel this way. And it's good they had someone that felt differently. It was a contrast as opposed to us getting the feel, okay, he's going to leave because everybody says he needs to just focus on MMA. It wasn't that.
No.
So it was people saying, yeah, he kicks ass in both, but a few people saying he needs to focus on one or the other. You know, one person said he needs to focus on, you know, just get back to fighting for real or let's do some MMA. His trainer was like, you know, he needs to focus on one. Mo was like, he can do both. He can excel at both and be the best of both. That's a Mo feel. So I think that was great. I think that was good for Lashley's image.
Yeah.
I think that was good for people to give it mixes people up because it gives the suspense. Like, damn, what is Lashley gonna do?
Yeah.
He's gonna listen to them. It's like, is he trying to figure out, is he gonna stay in GFW or is he gonna be fighting Bellator? You know, and that promotes both. It promotes GFW and it promotes Bellator. It promotes his team. It promotes everything. That was a really smart marketing move by Bellator and GFW.
Yeah.
So that's win-win all around to me, and not just when it comes to wrestling. It's a win-win for Bellator. It's a win-win for MMA. It's a win-win for wrestling. It's a win-win for Bobby Lashley's team. It's a win-win for the management of Anthem. It's a win-win in a lot of different ways. So that was really smart, and I really, 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 really liked that segment. It was my favorite segment of the night, actually.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I wouldn't say it was my favourite. My favourite, I'm going to say it, the segment-wise, was with Grado. I'm a big fan of Grado. I think Grado is funny as anything. And actually, he's actually been used properly. If you remember with Dixie Carter regime, he had matches against Al Snow. He had that thing with Eli Drake with the briefcase, but he'd never really had anything solid to go on. They never put him with anything decent until now. You know, he's got a good storyline with Laura Van Ness and everything else that's going on. So I think that part they've done really well. You know, but we did see Joseph Park telling Grado that he's got to focus on his match and not worry about being deported. And, you know, I thought that whole backstage bit was brilliant. And something you have said before about you feel Congo Kong is stuck, where they're not being pushed enough. I think that's changing now. We saw Congo Kong taking out Eddie Edwards, going on a rampage, taking out Rich Justice, and this is what I wanted to see. I wanted to see Congo Kong being destructive, taking people out, and I'm hoping this continues.
We talked about it, we bitched about it, we said we wanted it, and now we're getting it.
Oh, yeah.
Enough said.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what Eddie Edwards match he was meant to be in because it was never advertised, but, you know, we saw him got taken out by Kong, and then we saw Laura Van Ness put him away.
I like it. I like the fact that he's trying to beat shit up. Laura Van Ness got some kind of way to try to keep him in check. He's not wasted. He's not been wasted anymore. We're getting to see him, and we get to see him do his thing the way that Congo Kong should do his thing. Dominate. Yeah, I'm not mad about that anymore. I thought his whole insertion into the Laura Van Ness Grado thing was kind of wrong because it's like, why? When Congo Kong has feelings or something for Laura Van Ness, that doesn't make sense. Congo Kong is this beastly animal that's supposed to tear shit up, and now that's what he's doing. So,
yeah,
let's see where the whole thing with Laurel goes. I still want to know if that's what that is. Does he like suddenly have, you know, emotions of affection and things?
Yeah,
for Laurel. So.
Yeah, I totally agree. Next up, we did see Moose taking on EC3 with judges Bruce Pritchard, Dutch Mantell, and Scott D'Amore. Now, we saw EC3 dominate Moose first round, and EC3 won the scorecards. Second round, I'm going to say we saw more of EC3 being dominant again, but for some reason the judges went for Moose.
I'm glad you saw it. I was wondering. I told Related that. I was like, I don't agree with that. EC3 won that second round.
Yeah, I believe that.
And I'm a Moose fan.
Then we got to the third round. Now, I kind of agree, the third round was about even. So, when it came to the scorecards, to see Bruce Pritchard give Moose an 8 to make EC victorious, it was a bit like, okay, we know Bruce Pritchard is turning heel. You know, there's certain things we've seen him do, agreeing with Trevor Lee, now done this on the Grand Championship match. I can see that's the way it's going to go.
All day. I was so totally surprised. This was good. They had us mixed up throughout the whole match. I wondered why. EC3 came at 10-8. 10-8.
Yeah.
You knew immediately bullshit was in the game. You knew immediately. Then we're down to Bruce Pritchard. They announced what judge gave what scores. And when you get down to Bruce Pritchard, he come with a 10-8 when obviously it was either a 10-10, just like the other two judges gave, or it was more so Moose's edge. Even though he still lost the match, Moose did lose that match.
Yeah.
EC did rightfully win the Grand Championship, but not because of that last round.
No.
So it was because of the first two. I do think the decision was correct that EC3 did win, but the way it was done was so much of a throw-off, you know.
Yeah.
And it was a good throw-off, you know. Don't even like Bruce Pritchard as a character on TV, but this made me kind of give him a thumbs up on that one. You know?
Maybe that's why they're sort of going with the heel turn with him, because maybe they know he's not coming off right as a face. So maybe that's why they're going to flip him as a heel and see how it comes off that way. And also, a little interesting fact, we've never seen an 8. It's always been a 10 and a 9. They've never given us any other scores on this championship. On the Impact Championship, it's never been an 8 score. It's always been 10 and 9s. So, that was a big throw-off because, you always expect a 10 and a 9.
Mm-hmm. That was the drive, the fact that, Bruce is becoming a heel. That was the drive, that fact. And then to have Dutch talk about it and like, hey, I don't know what this is about. He's a judge. Nothing I can do. Yeah. I think it was 10-10. I think this. I think that. Just throw the fact even harder. Punch it in. Bruce is becoming a heel. And I like it. It's good. I like the match was good.
Yeah.
Because they wrestled. They really wrestled. They really showed some stuff. EC3 had the better of Moose, which is cool. Moose had a really good title run as Grand Champion. He went all around the world defending it, exposing it. And I'm not mad about them putting it on EC3 because EC3 is the top dog. He's not. You can't go wrong putting any belt on him. If he's not going to be World Heavyweight Champion, all right, make him Grand Champion. And then you can't say that this championship reign is going to be tainted because he did earn it. He beat Moose. He really did beat Moose. So, there's a lot of argument with that too. And that brings controversy that is needed just as well. It's like, well, it was handed to you by Bruce Pritchard, but then you're going to have the other half. But he really did win. He really did have a better match and beat Moose. And he really did win it by decision. So that's another thing that you can throw into the pot too. So I think this was done marvelously, straight marvelous. I can't really get it. Marvelously. There you go. It was done great. I would like to see, of course, maybe a small feud, a rematch with Moose, EC3. As much as I love Moose, have EC3 retain.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Have EC3 ride out the Grand Championship for a while. And just, I hope the rule changes come. I hope they do a storyline because I've read rule changes are going to come. They're going to keep like the round system, but they're going to do some rule tweaks.
Yeah.
And I want EC3, his heel, his heel persona to have something to do with that. I want him to be doing some shit to where he can't lose the title.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just doing something so there's no way the title could be exchanged.
Yeah.
And they tweak the rules to where it can be, or to things are different to where they really make the matches better. Even though I don't have a problem with the way they're going now,
Yeah.
except for the momentum loss in between matches.
Oh, yeah.
In between rounds.
Yeah, I definitely agree. After that, we had KM, Farley Baha, Mario Baha versus Suicide, Grado, and Braxton Sutter. Now, we've said when we was off air that my only problem with this, there's no point of Suicide. You know, I know he's doing there to build the numbers, but there's no point to him. This is the third time we've seen a six-man tag team. You know, they could have easily just made this a tag team match. You know, they didn't have to have Suicide in the other team, and they could have dropped someone off the other side to make it just a normal tag team. It would have made it a bit more interesting. I don't even really rate the match, to be honest. I didn't think the match was that great.
It was a normal match. We talked about this before we jumped on air, and I want to reiterate what I said. I'm going to just speak on it. Not every match is going to have a purpose, even though there were purposes in this match, but after the match and kind of during. Excuse me. Not every wrestler in a match is going to have a storyline or a purpose in it, because that's wrestling. Some time has to be filled up.
Yeah.
It has to. And now GFW roster's growing so much. You got to try to expose everybody if you can.
Yeah.
My problem with the match is the people that you speak of Suicide, followed by Mario Baccara. They didn't give anything to the match. They didn't give any excitement. If you're going to have some people to fill up a match, because obviously this match was about Braxton Sutter, Grado. Was it Grado in this match? Yeah, Grado. You know, it was about that. Laura Van Ness.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. It was about that. That's what this match is about. And I understand that. There's going to be people that have no storyline in them. But if you're going to have people that are going to be in matches, give us some good talent. Give us some talent that are going to give us something. You know, because Mario Baccara is all about not wanting a single match.
No.
They have shown us the same moves every match. They've shown us the same things every match.
Yeah.
We know whoever team they're on is going to lose. We know that.
Yeah. But
so
the main thing this was about, you know, we saw Grado get the win in this, but the main thing it was about was Grado proposing to Laura Van Ness.
Right, that's what it was about. It was about Congo Kong, you know, to finish the show, he's a beast.
Yeah.
It was about Braxton Sutter gradually going through a heel turn.
Yeah.
It's about that. You know, it's about, like you said, Grado and Laura Van Ness, you know, trying to get his citizenship, but Congo Kong being in the way of that. It's about all that. So I think that was cool on that aspect. The match was, like you said, it was me so.
Yeah.
But it could have been better if you would replace Falaba and Bokara with, say, even Idris Abraham, because he's a pretty good competitor. You know, you could have got a pretty decent match out of it with Idris Abraham and somebody else, or who's somebody that we haven't seen much of. Laredo Kid and Garza Jr., whenever they're in matches and they have no storyline, we still get damn good matches.
Yeah, we do.
I've been very happy with Laredo Kid, Garza Jr., and what was it? And who's the damn third person? Anyway, but I've been very happy with Garza Jr. and Laredo Kid in that match, because they always give us 5 stars, 4 or 5 star matches.
Yeah. I agree.
And Suicide is not the same Suicide. We all know he's kind of a shell of what Suicide used to be.
Yeah.
Caleb Conley is not a great Suicide. He just doesn't really do it for me. Doesn't do it for a lot of us. So I think he could have put 3 more people that would have gave us a more exciting match than that. That was my problem with the 3 people in there that had nothing to do with storyline.
Yeah, because basically we saw Congo Kong put a stop to it. Laura Van Ness calmed him down and they went away. So we didn't really get any answers, so we'll have to wait for next week. And like you just said, we saw Ali was unhappy with Braxton for not helping out Grado. But like I said, we'll find out more what's going to happen next week. But we did see Mackenzie Mitchell interviewing LAX backstage. and Conan reminding Alberto that he...
Can I stop you one quickly before you finish that?
Go on then.
Did you not like Braxton Sutter's promo after that?
Yeah, it made me interested in more why he's not helping him. Yeah, it's made me a bit more interested than what they've previously done with him.
Right, it's made me more interested in Braxton Sutter, which I had not been interested before, and I'm happy that they're doing something with him because I know that he needs personality. I felt like he could do more because they kept him around for a reason, and they saw something in him, and I think they're showing that now. He probably will be a better heel than he is a face. And I know BQ of the Kingdom Mountain Podcast, that's his favorite wrestler in GFW right now, and I know he's got to be happy about that. So that's another reason I like that they're doing that. Because BQ, I want to see what they're doing with your boy.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But we did see, Conan reminding Alberto that he can't trust his own family. Like, again, I was saying, the way they play, LAX are playing the mind games is brilliant. Really getting in Alberto's head. I think, like I said, they've done that brilliantly. Now, the next bit was a weird bit. We saw EC3 interrupt, come round, stand on top of this table to celebrate, and then thought, "No, I'm going back." It was like, okay. It was like, "Hi EC3, bye EC3."
I love what EC3 does and stuff, man. It's great.
Oh, it is.
I love it.
Oh, it is. Now, our main event. LAX, Homicide, and Cieneta and Ortiz taking on Alberto, Dos Caras, and El Hojo del Dos Caras, and Conan and Diamante were at ringside. I could sort of predict what was going to happen in this match. You knew Alberto wasn't going to trust his family in this match. It wasn't a bad match. It wasn't a good match. It was, again, it was just for storyline. It was just to fill that gap.
Yep.
But it went to the normal. LAX took advantage, and we saw Loki come down. Now, they could have used Loki either way. He could have helped El Patron, but no, he joined LAX, which I saw. And I understand why he would join LAX, because Homicide can't put full-on matches in the X division because of his age, and he is kind of beat up. So bringing Loki in was quite a good move, but they only can use Loki in the X division. I don't want to see Loki going for the main title. I don't want to see that. I think Loki should stay with the X division. I still don't know if Loki's the right fit for LAX. I would have more liked to seen a big, heavier guy, someone like, either Supermex or someone similar to Supermex to come in. Someone new to GFW that was Mexican, that could fill that big guy role, that could go for the world title. So then it gives them more of a higher stance.
I agree with you. You do need a heavyweight. There's no heavyweight. There's no heavy hitter in LAX. I think it would have been good to choose a heavy hitter instead. But I guess there was no Latino heavy hitters in Impact Wrestling side for Alberto Patron, our GFW World Heavyweight Champion. That's out the window, of course. Supermax would have been perfect, of course, because he was the original LAX, and they were the best LAX. Just whether people like it or not, they were. They got a really good team, what they got going on, but just Loki has never been one for Latino pride. Yeah. The LAX is all about Latino pride and, going against the good old boys. And like Conan, like I said, Conan likes to use, the word, pertaining to saltine. And Loki has never had that persona. He's been either more so of a loner, except when he was with the BDC. Mm-hmm. And he's never screaming about Latino pride. If people that don't know, he's Puerto Rican. Yeah. Of Puerto Rican descent. But he's never once said nothing about the good old boys or the white man going against them or the government, or he's proud of his Latino heritage. None of that. He just doesn't fit when it comes to personality to me. So we're going to see if this is what he's going to do. Is he going to now talk about his Latino heritage and his pride and things now? Is that what we're going to get from Low-Key now?
I think so. I think it's gonna be more of a refresh to Loki because it's gonna be something different. You know, we've always seen the same with Loki, so they're actually tweaking him a little bit. So I think it could be a good thing in the long run. I think it's more just to wait and see on it. I think that's all we can really do on this is to see where they're gonna go. But I'm interested. I want to see what's Loki's involvement. What's they're gonna do with Loki. You know, so it still had me intrigued. You know, like I said, this was a storyline match. You know, that's all this was. But it was a good storyline match. I like the way it's done. I like the twist, the mental games, and done perfectly.
Yeah, I do like the ending. I do like. It was good. It was a good way to debut Loki as a member of LAX. I like you said, it furthers the storyline. It's a good way to further it. It's a good way to strengthen LAX again because whether big guy or not, or whether personality or character or whatever the storyline is, Loki strengthens your faction.
Yeah.
You know, he strengthens your faction. So that just makes LAX even stronger. And it's interesting to see where they're going to go. Like you said, we don't want an NWO type thing where you get member after member after member and you saturate us with the damn faction. And you kind of water it down, you know, just keeping it real. And we lose interest. So let's hope that they don't go that route, you know. And I do like the idea of them trying to get all the gold. I don't believe they should get all the gold. If they do, for a short period of time. Not for a long period of time.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree.
Right.
But like I said, it's made me excited for next week. The only thing I do want to quickly cover is the live events. People are expecting these live events to be 5,000. It's not going to be. They've just restarted these live events. I think one was about 500 and the second one was about 1,000. So that is still, for live events, a good turnout. And actually, I think
there's more people than the Impact Zone.
Yep, I think the 1,000 one was more than a NXT live event. I think.
Oh snap!
I'm not going to say here. I'm quoting that, but from what I've read, I think so. So the live events are doing well. You know, like you said, you've got to give it time. You know, they start advertising more live events, and you know the growth is there. It will grow. It's just, you know, they made a lot of profit out of these live events. Which is a good thing because the more money they make, the more money they can put into GFW.
Without a doubt.
Because
and that's the whole purpose.
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't think I've missed anything either. I'm just thinking, have I missed anything?
No, we just got some news. I got some news that I've seen and read that I think is pretty cool. Johnny Mundo, he did an interview.
Yeah.
John Morrison, aka John Hennigan, whichever one you want to call him.
Mm-hmm.
He was saying he would love to do the GFW taping. He said it's something they're thinking about, but that's what he would love to do. He would love to be on GFW TV.
And he can do it because he's with AAA and the talent relations deal.
So they're in talks with Lucha Underground about making the relation, you know, doing something. So, and I want to see it happen. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, definitely. Because the one thing and the bonus with that, if they get a deal with Lucha Underground, if they, you know, it's more likely we're going to see Rey Mysterio in GFW because we found out now WWE have dropped interest. So if Rey Mysterio is going to be in GFW and they do links with Lucha Underground, they can have Rey Mysterio can still do his Lucha Ground stuff. You know, this is why it's a bonus for everybody. And also, there's a lot of talented wrestlers in Lucha Underground.
Oh yeah.
So,
Lots love it.
Oh yeah, perfect deal all round.
It would be total. It'd just be incredible because it'll keep Lucha under. Well, I thought they were having problems when it comes to financial and the because they still don't know if there's going to be a season 4 is it or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
So that would help both companies tremendously.
Yeah.
You know, it would keep Lucha Underground going on. We'd be able to see some GFW talents in Lucha Underground, which would be so spectacular. I think that would be so cool to be able to see GFW and Lucha Underground interact and do their thing like all the time.
Oh yeah, definitely. But like I said, I'm excited for next week. I can't wait for us to review next week.
Right.
And you know, like I said, GFW keeps growing and it's getting better and better. You know, I want to thank everybody that supports us. And a little update for everybody. If you want to catch all the Slamdown vlogs, go onto our YouTube page. Don't just like the videos. Give us a subscribe. You've got to do it, or you'll miss out. And also, don't forget to like our Facebook page, and also don't forget to join Impact Fan Nation for all your Impact news and discussions.
Don't forget. You know, I'm getting back to doing the spotlight profile thing. I'm very busy, so they're not from starting school, starting classes again on the 22nd. So this show's going to be a different day, but we'll get into it and keep y'all updated and post it.
Definitely.
But yeah, definitely tune in, Impact Fan Nation, GFW Impact Fan Nation. Tune in to Slamdown, to the website. We're going to have new material up, of course, to the blogs that Ashley does. I try to get them in if I can. Got a lot going on. But yeah, keep tuning on into, to me, the most exciting wrestling company in the world today.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll say a big thank you to everybody watching, and we will let you know on Twitter when the next show will be. I'll be dropping another vlog tomorrow, so I'll talk to you and see you all soon.
See you soon.